I'm scaredy cat. It's 12. Yeah, we're talking about Scarefest at Alton Towers. That was brilliant. That wasn't scary at all, unless you did the scary things on purpose. 12 minutes past 12. A good afternoon to you. It's Thursday. The flashback's after 1 o'clock, but it's time to have a cuppa and a natter with somebody. Lunch with Ruchita Shaikh today. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ian.
And sorry, because I've been saying Ruchita all morning. It's Ruchita.
It's all right. You can call me Ruchita or Ruchita. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, but one's right and one's wrong, and I like trying to be polite enough to get it right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very well. All the more better seeing you here.
Ruchita is, are you the chief executive at Artcore?
I am, yes.
And co-founder with your husband?
Yes, I'm one. Myself and my husband, we kind of restarted Artcore in Derby. So my husband started it in India, and then we decided to move to the UK and eventually came to Derby, and that's where we
I'm going to revisit that in a while, because I'm sure there's not just a conversation. Shall we pack up and go to the other side of the world? No, let's pick Derby, but we'll get to that. Whereabouts in India did you grow up then?
So I grew up in a city called Baroda, which is in the Gujarat state, central western part of India.
Big house full of you. How many? Who was living in the house? Cousins, sisters?
Well, yes, it was. We were 10 cousins living in the same house. We had a massive house, and we had about 20 to 22 people living in the house. Grandmother, grandfather, uncles, aunts. Everybody.
Was that chaotic?
It was at times, but it was a lot of fun. We had a massive dining table, and there was one rule: we all had to sit together and have dinner together.
So everybody there.
Yes.
Come mealtime.
Yep.
Round the table.
Yep. Lots of chit-chat going on, yeah.
And good food, presumably, because, you say India to most English people, all you think about is food.
Oh, yes. Oh, not just good food only. It's good food 4 times a day. So, yes, we were fed well.
At the table, at the dining room table 4 times a day?
Probably. Not all of them, all of us together all the time. But, yes, 4 times a day, good food. Wow. Yeah. Oh, those were the times.
What sort of a student were you at school?
I was quite an average kid, to be honest. I always longed that one day I might have my name on the board. It used to be the blackboard at those times, that's what. And I never got around to do that. So I was quite an average academically. I was quite an average kid.
What did you love?
I enjoyed art.
Yeah, always.
Always very creative. Tried to bring in art and
and when you say art, I mean performing or sitting down and drawing, painting?
More drawing, painting, making things. Yes, that was my area. I really wasn't.
Is there anywhere you can point to that you got that skill from, that talent?
Well, I don't know. Well, because everybody else in my family, or the extended family amongst the cousins, there's one cousin, yes, who's studied art, but everybody else was either engineers or computer science or...
That's a form of creativity, I suppose, isn't it? It's just a very narrowly focused creativity.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So probably I got it from my cousin, the oldest cousin amongst the 10 of us. So, yeah. Yeah. And
how... I'm just fascinated, growing up where you did. It feels to me, having grown up in the UK, that it would be so alien to growing up here, and even the picture you paint of 20 people in a massive house already sounds so different.
Oh, it used to be amazing. And when I say amazing, when we talk about cousins, and when I relate that definition of cousins to my children, it's very different, because we don't see ourselves as cousins. We see more like brothers and sisters, and now each. Like all 10 of us are spread around the world everywhere, but we still have that special bond that we share, and because we've grown up together. Grandmother, grandfather were in the house telling stories at bedtime. It was just absolutely amazing growing up in a massive family. Yes, there were times where you do want to have your space, quiet space and stuff, but it was just absolutely amazing. There's this caring, sharing nature that is instilled in us probably from then. I don't know, but
see, it's not just the India thing. I'm an only child as well. I'm just everything sounds so different to me. That's why I'm fixated on your childhood. You said you were artistic. I think you studied fine arts, didn't you?
I did study fine arts, yeah. So I did want to get into architecture, but I didn't get the right percentage in my, we call them board exams.
What sort of architect do you think you would have been?
Oh, I loved
Daring?
heritage and architecture, so
Really?
buildings and stuff like that. Yeah, probably
Very
daring.
sympathetic sort of architecture.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get around to doing any
No.
of that, so I ended up doing fine
Ceramics,
arts and
ultimately.
ceramics. Yes, yeah.
What does that mean? I mean, we know what ceramics means, but in terms of your career when you were a ceramicist, what did that mean?
Well, I did study ceramics as a part of my bachelor's degree and went on to do my postgrads in design, in ceramic design. And I'm more of a form person in the sense that I enjoy making the product, shaping, making the form, probably concentrate more on the form side of it. And then I got an opportunity to go and do a 6-month internship with Rosenthal in Germany, which was absolutely
Very big
fantastic.
Firm. Very
It
big
is,
firm.
yeah. And
Designing what? Tableware?
tableware products for and supplying to the world, and quite a renowned firm as well. And I was so fortunate to be able to do that. Actually, to be honest, I didn't get it the first time I applied, so I was a bit
Do
happy.
you still own things that you designed?
I do, yes.
What have
I
you
do.
got at home?
Well, I designed a whole range of tableware.
So have you got the full set?
I have a full set of it.
Are they for special, or do you serve dinner on them?
I do serve dinner on them. I've started doing that
Quite
now.
the talking point, isn't it? Yeah. See that you're eating off? Yeah, I designed that.
Yeah.
See that you're pouring? I designed that. Yeah.
At one point, we used to eat from everything myself and my husband we both made. So we're both potters. We both make pottery and used to make pottery. And at one point we had all the crockery in our house. Not anymore. That we had made ourselves, which is quite nice. And I would love to
That's
have
quite
that time
beautiful,
again.
isn't it? Eh?
Yeah.
How did you and Zahir meet?
We met in the college in India, at the Fine Arts College in Baroda. It's quite a reputed fine arts college, university, where all the contemporary artists kind of connect or want to connect from India with. Zahir was 3 years senior studying to me. We met there, and that's it. We are there since then. We are together.
A mutual friend / colleague tells me that it's quite novel that you two ended up together, because he's a Muslim and you're Hindu, yeah?
Yeah, I grew up in a Hindu family and Zahir's a Muslim, and yes, it wasn't the easiest, but we are here together more than 27 years we've been together.
Very proud of making that work.
Yes, it has been a challenging journey though, but I would say it has been really interesting. It wasn't very normal for a Hindu and a Muslim to get married, and I don't think it's still very common.
And regardless
as well.
of what background or culture you're from in that part of the world, there's a lot of tradition, right? There's a lot of expectations that you're not going to rock the boat.
Yep. Yeah, and
but you rocked it.
We did rock it. We didn't just rock it. We make sure it's steadily flowing. So yeah, it is.
And years on, here you are. You've got your boys.
I have 2 lovely boys now, and they've grown up understanding, knowing both the cultures, faiths, rituals, traditions. So, and I'm quite proud about that, because
do they have faith?
Yeah,
have they
do.
chosen, if you like, one of the two?
What we did realize when I had my first boy, after a few years, when we came to the UK, he was nearly 2 years old, and we did realize there has to be one faith that we need to kind of get the boys growing up with, because it helps to put a routine in life. It helps to make things easier and put some controls where we need to put some controls. So yes, both my boys, so at home we follow the Muslim religion, but when my parents are around, or when we go to my mum's house, which used to be my house, we celebrate all festivals.
I was going to say, you're celebrating Diwali at the moment.
So we did. We've been partying for 5 days. And what we've done in this journey of 27 years is we've brought Artcore as our own baby. So I still consider Artcore as my first baby, and then I have my 2 boys. My boys don't like saying that, listening to that, because yes, I have myself and Zahir, my husband, have given all of our time developing our passion, growing and following that, and making Artcore more stronger. And hence, sometimes I feel one of the regrets I do have is spending more time with my boys. Both my boys, they've grown up, and I haven't realized they've grown up into lovely...
Have you had that conversation with them, though?
No, I hope they're listening to this today.
Oh, man. Might be coming down the line later. Let's play some music and chat some more. Ruchita Shaikh is One of the founders of Artcore in Derby, and is joining us for lunch this afternoon. We'll chat some more after Dermot Kennedy.
Take a photo.
Kiss Me, and it's BBC Radio Derby. Hello. 25 past 12-ish. Thursday. Doing lunch today with Ruchita Shaikh, who is from Artcore in, I bet, I'm again, this is maybe me speaking for myself, but I'm going to presume it may go to a lot of other people. If you live in and around Derby, you've probably heard of Artcore. You may or may not have directly encountered what the charity does. You do a lot, don't you, Ruchita?
We do
in a lot of different places, in a lot of different ways.
Yes, we try and connect and work with people using art as a tool, as a vehicle. That's what we do with at Artcore.
And as you said, that began, I mean, when you founded the charity, it was in India, in a shopping mall?
Yes, that's right. So Artcore started in 1995 in India. Zahir, my husband, he started it after graduating in fine arts. Having his degree in fine arts. So him and a few of other professional artists got together because there wasn't an art gallery in that place where the finest of the artists were produced from the university, but nowhere to showcase art. So that's where they started Artcore. And then in 2000...
So a gallery in a shopping centre?
Yeah. It was...
Was that quite unusual?
It was quite unusual, yeah. And probably it was the first gallery in the city, other than the university gallery. So it was very popular, but it was in a shopping centre, so it was quite unique, and it was probably the smallest gallery as well. Now that city holds more than 20 galleries and lots of studio space. It's a buzzing place for art and artists. If you go there today to Baroda, yeah. But it wasn't that in those days. So it was quite unique and it was very popular. People loved to just be there and spend time there.
And it was a charity there as well?
It wasn't a charity.
No.
It started as a private business.
And space for artists.
Yeah. But there were a lot of charitable objectives that it kind of catered to. And so when we moved to the UK, in 2005 and we were in London, doing all sorts of things, and then we decided to move to Derby, and that's where we restarted.
Why Derby? How do you pick Derby? If you're new to the country, pretty much.
It's quite interesting, Ian. A lot of people have asked us that, and there's two answers to it, and depends who's asking me, I answer it accordingly. But no, there are two answers to it. So when we were in India, thinking about moving to the UK, we thought about Stoke-on-Trent and pottery and ceramics and our love for ceramics. And we thought we need to be somewhere nearby, having this amazing picture of potteries and industries catering to ceramics. Of course, it's very different to what we had thought, but that was one reason to come to Derby, because it's close by and we could access. The other reason is we came to meet a friend here. We were looking for houses in London, and we came to meet an acquaintance from back home, and somebody whom Zahir knew, and they had just recently bought the house in Derby at that time. So we ended up buying a house in Derby before even we thought of moving into Derby. But then we very soon realized it's very centrally located, and getting anywhere, any corner of the country, could be very easy, and probably not more than 4 hours you're there. So we thought that would be quite a benefit to be in Derby, and we found it very similar to Baroda, where we come from. So there were these few things that made us make that decision.
It's a big decision, isn't it? When you've moved so far, finding the right place to make your work and bring up your one boy, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
You got to pick the right place.
It was, and also because we wanted to there was something in us that was telling us to go back into art, and living in London, it would have been a much bigger challenge in terms of establishing ourselves in that area. So I think moving to Derby, it brought us closer to what we thought. It was in many ways similar to Baroda, as I said, and having a city of this size, you could easily, we thought it would be possible to kind of restart Artcore here.
And you were very keen to you say back into art. What have you been doing? Was this the window manufacturing software?
Oh, I did lots, but you know what? I learned the best things while I was in London doing those jobs. So I was working for a window manufacturing company, and probably in 2 years, I kind of got promoted to become a senior manager and stuff like that, but also learned a lot of admin or back-end stuff, which is quite nice because you don't...
All the stuff that you're going to need to run a charity, even though it's the art that drives you. You know?
Yes, certainly. And then I worked for a IT company doing some supply chain management. So, yeah, it was interesting for me, especially coming from India, having the right accent, all those tricks, all those things I did kind of pick up in those few jobs I did in London. Yeah.
So, and the plan was it, when you settled in Derby, Artcore? The name, the charity, you had the idea in mind?
We wanted to start Artcore. We didn't know it was going to be a charity or not.
Okay.
But we did start Artcore as a community group in 2009. And both myself and Zahir were working as a volunteer in it. So we were voluntarily giving our time to establish the organization or the group at that time. And Zahir was working late nights, doing some odd jobs elsewhere, while I was just concentrating fully getting the organization.
Why are the arts so important to you?
Oh, it's like life and blood, isn't it? We're both very passionate about art, and we're both very passionate about what art brings to people and what it kind
Which
of helps.
Which is what does it? How does it enrich lives?
Saying that it has no barriers. You can actually take out all the barriers that you can think about. Language barrier, it's not there. Financial barrier, we can make it possible with Artcore charity, enabling people to not, to access things free of cost. But also it brings that well-being, be it mental health well-being. We've had people who come in and they say they've forgotten to go to their appointments, doctor's appointments. Of course, we don't encourage doing that, but in a very positive way, because sometimes you need that mode of expression, that way where you can actually engage in something, learn new skills. And these are skills that are in your hands. Nobody can take them away from you. If you are into marketing or something, you could be replaced in a job by somebody else, etc. But these are your hand skills. So if I'm a potter, I will never forget throwing pots on a wheel. I'll never forget doing that.
What if I understand all those arguments and beliefs, but I say to you, I can't draw for toffee, I can't make anything, I'm rubbish with my hands, I'm never going to be able to create stuff.
I will want to invite you, Ian, one day to Artcore, and let's see what happens, because that's not what it is about. You don't do the art to necessarily to show it to people. You do it for yourself. So what you create is your expression or your things that you want to convey in the form of the art.
What if I can't get what's in my head through my hands because I'm just clumsy and useless?
You will be surprised what you can create, Ian. Definitely, I would like you to take that offer and come to Artcore
face
one
says,
day.
come on, I'm challenging you. Let's play another song. We'll chat some more and talk about what Artcore get up to, which is so widespread across the community. Ruchita from Artcore is doing lunch with us. Except BBC Radio Derby. Pretty Woman, that, isn't it? It's you're a fan of a film, aren't you, Ruchita Shaikh from Artcore?
Any Bollywood film you can tell me, yeah?
Big Bollywood fan.
I am, yeah.
What's your favourite Bollywood film? It'll mean nothing to me, and I acknowledge my own ignorance here, but what's your favourite?
There is no favourite.
Do you have a favourite star?
There's a couple. I enjoy films that have a meaning, but also entertain you in the real sense. So, yes, I did like Shah Rukh Khan films before. Not the most recent ones, but yeah, there was a time where he did some really good films, and I did like Amir Khan films, and I haven't watched the latest one from him. So yeah, but one thing that we do as a family, 4 of us, we do try and sit every Friday evening and watch a new Bollywood film. That's what we do.
Brilliant.
Even today, yeah.
Brilliant. Ruchita is the co-founder with her husband Zahir of Artcore in Derby. So when you did start it as an organisation, it wasn't a charity then, I know you said it's a community organisation. Did you have a clear idea what you wanted to achieve?
We did have an idea of how the art has been helping and benefiting people, and that was a route we wanted to take, and hence that's where we decided for going to the charity route, because it's making the impact, making the difference on people's lives. It's bringing communities together, irrespective of where they come from, what age they are, what language they speak, etc. it kind of is a universal language, I would say, in itself, art. So yes, that is the route that we decided to take, the charity
Bringing
route.
people together.
Yes, bringing people together.
And making people's lives a bit more colourful, a little bit more fulfilled, a little bit more in touch with themselves, maybe?
Definitely. Just last week, we had a Diwali party at Artcore, and we had nearly 250 people from all walks of life coming in, enjoying Diwali celebrations, eating food, amazing food. Food has to be there. And understanding what happens and why people celebrate Diwali and being a part of it. So yeah, that's what we try and do through different forms of art. We try and bring people together, help them learn new skills, looking at a career, or maybe just a reason to meet another person. We have so many people who come into Charnwood Street, where our workshop studios are, the community hub, where people either they're living by themselves, they have nobody they kind of interact with throughout the week, and coming to Artcore once a week or twice a week is the kind of focal point that they want to meet their friends and,
And when we talk about art, I mean, give us an example. I mean, what you're involved in is it's making, it's painting, it's dancing, it's all sorts, isn't it?
Yeah. So Artcore is primarily a visual arts charity. So when you say visual arts, it's painting, pottery, mosaics, collage, you name it. But also there's a performance element in it. So it's not just about the product, but it's the process. So if somebody is involved in making a piece of, say, a canvas painted, it's not just the end product, it's what they've gone through while they were making that. And we have regular workshops at Artcore where professional artists come in and deliver these sessions to people who might say they have not even touched a paintbrush in 20, 30 years. It's about enabling them, making them learn those skills, but then it's then their expression that they put on the canvas.
And I said to you when the record was on, I vaguely remember that you got a new place. It's not new, it's like 2-3 years now since you moved in.
It is 2019 we got the place, but we still call it the new building.
Yeah, in the context, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Artcore Cultural Hub, which has an art gallery, a craft shop, a cafe, very new, and some studios for artists to create and make. Sorry?
There's that food again with the cafe.
There is that food again with the cafe, yes, yeah, very much so. It's quite a new initiative, the cafe, and we've gone, so 2019 we got the building. It used to be the Laura Ashley building. Mm-hmm. So the last 2 years we've been opening and closing for, obvious reasons.
Yeah, so 2019 and then COVID.
Yes.
How much of a disruption was that to what you do? Did you just have to start being, clever about how you do what you do?
I took it as an opportunity, to be honest. We tried different things every time we opened. So we tried out various new permutation, combination, what works, what doesn't work. And I think we used it to our advantage the last 3 years to make sure that I
bet it didn't always feel like that. You're putting a positive shine on it now.
We've learned a lot over the last 3 years. And what we have now, we went through a big refurb, phase 1 refurb, between January to March this year, and we opened doors in May again this year, which looks more like a creative space now. Not
what
so much.
For you is a brilliant day at work?
I know, Ian, when the records were on, we were talking about this. There's a lot of admin and back-end work. So for me, a brilliant day at work would be when I get all my to-do list ticked. I know it's a bit sad, but that's what I have to do. I enjoy. So there's few things that really makes my day is when I get a smile on a person, a participant or a learner or a user who comes in through the door and where they're heading off. I have my office just next to the stairs in Charnwood Street, and they say, "Thank you very much. We really enjoyed it." And that really makes my day. And the other thing that makes my day is having those ticks on my to-do list. But one thing I would really want to do is go back to my own work, and we're slowly heading there, I would say. I want to give some time to create my own work, my own pottery.
So how often in life, realistically now, are you at a potter's wheel?
Hardly.
Oh, that's a shame.
It is, and I want to get back to it because when we started Artcore, I used to deliver all the pottery and ceramic classes, and a member of staff said, "Oh, you know what? Maybe you can start doing that again. Maybe that's a route I take, but I don't know. I'll have to get myself kind of back into it some way or the other. But yeah, I do want to spend some time creating my own work."
I mean, are you happy with what Artcore is delivering right now? Are you always wanting to see what more you can add onto that program?
So it's been an interesting journey, and I was actually quite nervous. I've done various interviews at the radio, but I was with this one because it was talking about me and not Artcore, which is very strange because I can always talk about Artcore, but I've hardly ever talked about myself.
It's probably a good thing if you don't want to talk about yourself. I mean, in most cases, that's a good person.
But to be honest, it's been an interesting journey with Artcore, where it has come and from where it has come to where it has come to right now. And it is about sustainability now. That is the next challenging thing I see with Artcore. It's come to a point, and that's now it has to be steady and going in that direction for some time before anything new kind of starts off. But saying that, Zahir never likes to sit down quiet, so probably there's some idea bubbling in his head.
I mean, the both of you, by the sound of it, literally every single day. You told me at the start, don't ask me about television. I never watch TV.
Yeah, I don't get time to watch TV.
Both of you just not sit still, or apart from on a Friday night watching a Bollywood movie, you know?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I don't get to watch a lot of TV. No, I do like cooking. So when I go home from work, which is sometimes quite late in the day. So
what's your relaxation?
I cook food. That's my relaxation. I enjoy cooking food, and it's all different cuisines. I enjoy cooking, and majority of the days we have home cooked food in the evening, and we sit down together and have a food as a family. That's something I really enjoy. At the end of the day, it kind of takes all the tiredness out, and it's quite relaxing and enjoyable doing that.
We've run out of time, but it's lovely meeting you. Thank you, Ruchita.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
From Artcore in Derby, who actually I think you'll hear a little bit more about with Steve this afternoon, because we've got our Make a Blanket, Make a Difference campaign on. I was saying earlier on, if you haven't got the skills, Steve will find out all about their beginners knitting classes,
It is, yes. From Tuesday it starts next week, 1 to 3. People can come in. If you have any wool with you, you're welcome with it, or just come and we'll provide all the stuff for you, and you can come and learn how to knit a blanket.
Loads more on that with Steve this afternoon from 2. But for now, from Artcore, Ruchita, Shaikh, thank you very much.